Let's get one thing straight. Winning isn't fair. It never was and it never will be. You can cry about it, you can protest it, you can wish the world worked differently, but reality doesn't care about your feelings. The game is rigged for the ruthless, for the ones who play to dominate, not to participate. Most people are raised to believe in fairness, that hard work always gets rewarded, that good people win, that effort matters more than results. That's the biggest lie you've ever been told. Winning doesn't care how nice you are, how long you tried, or how many times you failed. It only cares if you did what was necessary. You think life's gonna hand you victory because you showed up. You think the universe owes you success because you worked hard. No. The world doesn't pay you for effort. It pays you for outcome. And if your outcome isn't extraordinary, you don't get rewarded, period. That's what most people can't stomach. They want the glory without the grind, the respect without the risk, the crown without the cuts. But the truth is, winners don't play by the rules of fairness. They play by the rules of power. Fairness is a concept created by the weak to make themselves feel better about losing. The strong understand that the world doesn't bend to sympathy. It bends to dominance. When a lion kills a zebra, no one complains about fairness. That's nature. But when a human outworks, outthinks, and outplays everyone else, suddenly people call it unfair. That's because mediocrity hates excellence. Losers hate winners because winners expose the truth that the only thing standing between them and success is effort, discipline, and the willingness to do what others won't. Winning is ruthless. It requires you to become obsessed with progress, to operate with intensity when everyone else is resting, to think sharper, move faster, and fight harder than the person next to you. You can't win by playing nice. You win by being strategic, cold, and focused. People think that success is about luck, connections, or talent, but it's not. It's about endurance. It's about how much you can take without breaking, how long you can stay hungry after the world tries to feed you comfort. Every winner you admire, every billionaire, every champion, every top performer, they've all been called selfish, arrogant, or cruel at some point. Because the act of winning offends people who settled. When you rise too fast, you remind everyone else how slow they're moving. When you start winning, you shine a light on other people's laziness. That's why they'll label you, criticize you, and try to pull you back down. But if you want to win, you can't care. You can't afford to be emotional. You can't lower your standards to make others comfortable. Winning doesn't respond to excuses. It doesn't recognize your struggles, your pain, or your past. It only recognizes results. You either have them or you don't. The man who wins isn't always the most talented, but he's always the most relentless. He's the one who stays standing after everyone else has quit. That's what separates the predator from the prey. Endurance. The weak quit when it hurts. The strong keep going when it's unfair. They accept that life is brutal, and they use that brutality as fuel. You have to be willing to play the game with blood in your teeth and fire in your soul. You have to wake up every day knowing that nobody's going to save you, that nobody's coming to hand you anything. You have to build it, fight for it, and take it. And when you do, you'll be hated for it. People will call you lucky, unethical, heartless, all because you had the courage to do what they couldn't. But the truth is, they don't hate you because you won. They hate you because your existence exposes their weakness. The ones who win at life are those who stop waiting for justice and start creating advantage. They stop complaining about the system and start mastering it. They study the rules just long enough to learn how to break them in their favor. They use intelligence, timing, and sheer will to bend reality to their goals. That's the mindset of a true winner. One who refuses to accept limits, one who adapts faster than the competition, one who sees opportunity where others see obstacles. So understand this, life isn't supposed to be fair. It's supposed to test you, break you, and rebuild you into something powerful. The unfairness isn't the enemy, it's the filter. It separates the dreamers from the doers, the talkers from the conquerors, the average from the unstoppable. You can either cry about how hard it is or become the kind of person who doesn't need it to be easy. That's the truth about winning. It's ruthless, and that's exactly why it's reserved for the few who can handle it. Everybody wants to win, but nobody wants to pay. They say they're willing to do whatever it takes, but the moment whatever it takes becomes uncomfortable, they fold. Let me tell you something, winning has a price tag, and that tag reads sacrifice. Not talent, not luck, not connections. Sacrifice. If you're not willing to give something up, you don't deserve to have anything great. You can't keep your comfort and your crown at the same time. You either pay the cost or you stay the same. There's no shortcut, no cheat code, no free ride to the top. Every person who's ever achieved greatness has paid in blood, time, and isolation. They've given up weekends, sleep, relationships, and peace of mind because they understood one simple truth: comfort and success don't coexist. You can't have both. The man chasing both is chasing failure. You think you can party, rest, and still be elite. You think you can coast through your days and somehow wake up successful? No. Success requires sacrifice because it demands your full attention. You can't half commit to greatness and expect it to fully commit to you. People talk about balance like it's a good thing. You need balance, they say. But balance is the language of the average. Winners live in extremes. They go all in, not halfway. They sacrifice things most people can't imagine letting go of: comfort, time, ego, even relationships. Because while the world is busy trying to have everything, the winner focuses on one thing: victory. And that focus costs him everything else. But that's why he wins. That's why he rises while everyone else remains stuck in mediocrity, juggling dreams they'll never chase. You can always tell how bad someone wants it by what they're willing to sacrifice. The man who says he wants to be rich but won't wake up early, won't work late, won't take risks. He doesn't want to win, he wants to wish. The man who says he wants to be strong but skips the gym, eats garbage, and blames his genetics. He doesn't want strength, he wants sympathy. The ones who win are the ones who give up everything that doesn't serve the mission. They sacrifice comfort for control, pleasure for purpose, and instant gratification for eternal respect. You can't evolve if you're still clinging to your old life. You can't step into the future while dragging your past behind you. Sacrifice is the bridge, the fire that burns the old you down so the new you can rise from the ashes. It hurts, it's lonely, and it will test everything you think you are. But it's the only way to earn power. Because power isn't given, it's traded. Your comfort for your progress, your fear for your freedom, your excuses for execution. People love the idea of winning until it demands isolation. They want success, but they don't want to be alone. Let me tell you something, you will be. When you're grinding at 3 a.m., nobody's cheering. When you're focused on your mission while others are relaxing, nobody's clapping. The path to winning is quiet, cold, and lonely. That's why so few walk it. Because it's easier to stay comfortable in the crowd than to suffer alone on the climb. But that climb, that sacrifice, that's what transforms you into someone unstoppable. You think it's easy to give up the things you love. It's not. It's brutal. It feels like tearing a piece of yourself away. But that's the point. Sacrifice isn't supposed to feel good. It's supposed to make you stronger. Every time you give something up for your goal, you prove that you want it more than the next man. Every time you resist temptation, you remind yourself who's in control. Your discipline, not your desire. Most people want to win until it interferes with their comfort. They'll say, "I'll do whatever it takes." And then they're hit with a moment of pain, a moment of doubt, and they retreat. They want to win, but they don't want to bleed. They want to change, but they don't want to hurt. But winning is a transaction. You trade suffering for success, struggle for strength. You sacrifice today for a tomorrow that's worth it. Look around at the world. The men you call powerful, successful, dominant, none of them got there by playing it safe. They missed birthdays, they skipped vacations, they cut out people who held them back. They paid the price. They understood that victory isn't bought with money. It's bought with moments you'll never get back. And they paid anyway. Because they knew that once you taste the feeling of winning, once you feel that power of becoming everything you said you'd be, every sacrifice suddenly makes sense. So when people tell you that you're obsessed, too extreme, or too focused, remember, they're supposed to say that. They're supposed to doubt you. Because you're doing what they can't. You're paying the cost they refuse to. You're investing your comfort into your legacy. And that's why, in the end, they'll still be talking while you're out there winning. Let me tell you the truth most people will never accept. Your emotions are the biggest liar in your life. They whisper weakness into your mind. They convince you to stop when you should keep going. They make you believe that comfort is peace when it's actually decay. Every single day, people let their emotions decide their destiny, and that's why they never win. Winners don't listen to emotions, they obey discipline. Discipline doesn't care how you feel, it only cares about what must be done. And that's the difference between people who dream about greatness and the ones who live it. You think the man who wakes up at 5 a.m. every day feels like doing it. You think he's excited every morning. No, he's exhausted, he's sore, he's human. But he does it anyway. That's discipline. Showing up when motivation dies, moving when your feelings scream, stop, acting when your mind wants to rest. Discipline is what separates the temporary from the timeless. Emotions fade, discipline builds empires. The problem is, society has programmed you to worship your emotions. Listen to your heart, they say. Do what feels right. That's the language of losers. Winners don't do what feels right. They do what's required. Feelings are fragile. They change with weather, sleep, and circumstance. One bad day and your emotions tell you to quit. One obstacle and they tell you it's too hard. But discipline doesn't ask for your opinion. It doesn't need motivation. It's not emotional, it's execution. Every single time, if you live by your emotions, you'll live a life of inconsistency. Sometimes up, sometimes down, always uncertain. But if you live by discipline, you'll build consistency that outlasts every storm. Because discipline doesn't care if you're tired, bored, or uninspired. It only cares about results. The disciplined man understands this. He knows that feelings are temporary, but results are permanent. He knows that skipping one day can cost him a month, and quitting once can cost him a lifetime. Discipline is the weapon that kills weakness. Every time you act with discipline, you destroy a part of your old self, the lazy version, the emotional version, the one who settles for less. Discipline rewires your mind to do what's right, not what's easy. It teaches you to lead yourself even when nobody's watching, even when no one claps for you, even when the reward isn't immediate. Because true discipline isn't about appearance, it's about control. Control of your body, your mind, and your direction. People wait for motivation like it's a spark that will magically change their life. But motivation is emotion, and emotion dies fast. You can't depend on it. You can't rely on something that changes with your mood. Discipline. Discipline, though, that's a system. It's mechanical. It doesn't care if you feel good or not. You wake up, you work, you repeat. That's how champions are made. They don't chase energy, they build structure. They don't wait for the perfect day, they create progress in imperfect moments. Every time you choose discipline over emotion, you take power away from your weakness. You silence that voice that says, take a break, and replace it with one that says, keep moving. You stop negotiating with your feelings and start commanding your actions. That's what builds mental strength, doing the hard thing long enough that it becomes normal. The moment you stop making decisions based on how you feel and start making them based on what's necessary, you become unstoppable. And let me tell you something, your emotions will fight you. They'll attack your mind, they'll flood you with excuses, they'll try to convince you that discipline is cruelty. But that's because emotions are designed for survival, not success. They want you safe, comfortable, predictable. Discipline wants you strong, dangerous, and untouchable. You have to decide which voice to follow, the one that protects your comfort or the one that builds your empire. When you master discipline, you gain something no emotion can give you: freedom. Freedom from procrastination, from fear, from hesitation. Because when you're disciplined, you no longer depend on how you feel to get things done. You move regardless. You become consistent, and consistency is what builds power. Nobody can compete with a man who moves with precision every single day, no matter how he feels. You must train your mind to follow discipline like a soldier follows orders. You must become the commander of your emotions, not their servant, because the moment you allow emotions to lead, you surrender your strength. You'll talk yourself out of greatness. You'll delay what should be done now. You'll waste years waiting to feel ready. But readiness is a myth. Discipline is the truth. The man who acts before he feels ready wins before anyone else even begins. Discipline isn't punishment. It's the ultimate form of self-respect. It's you proving to yourself that you control your life. Not laziness, not fear, not emotion. And once you taste that control, once you realize how powerful it feels to move with precision while everyone else is moved by mood, you'll understand why the world belongs to the disciplined. Because the man who conquers his emotions conquers everything. The truth that most people can't handle is that greatness demands isolation. When you decide to win at all costs, you'll lose people, you'll lose comfort, you'll lose approval. But that's the tax you pay for success. Because the road to the top isn't crowded, it's empty. Most people quit before they even start. They love the idea of winning, but they hate what it costs. They want success without sacrifice, power without pain, validation without effort. But you can't have it both ways. You either choose comfort or you choose greatness. You can't walk both paths. The moment you decide to take control of your life, you start separating yourself from the crowd. You stop partying, you stop wasting time, you stop doing things that make you weak, and suddenly people start calling you different, obsessed, arrogant. They'll try to pull you back, not because they hate you, but because your commitment exposes their laziness. Your discipline reminds them of what they're not doing. You become a mirror they don't want to look into. And instead of leveling up, they'll attack you for changing. That's why isolation isn't punishment, it's evolution. When you're focused on greatness, you'll realize how few people actually want it. Everyone talks, but almost no one executes. The world is full of dreamers who never build and talkers who never act. The lonely ones are the ones doing the work, the ones up at 4 a.m. when the rest of the world is sleeping. The ones sacrificing weekends to build something real. The one saying no to distractions while everyone else says yes to instant pleasure. Isolation becomes the environment where you sharpen your mind, strengthen your will, and forge your purpose. You see, isolation reveals who you really are. When there's no applause, no validation, no one cheering for you. That's when you find out what you're made of. Most people can perform when eyes are on them, but true warriors perform when no one's watching. It's easy to be confident when everyone believes in you, but can you still move when nobody cares, when nobody notices, when the results don't come immediately? That's where real greatness is born. Not in the spotlight, but in the shadows. There's a reason legends are remembered. They lived differently. They were willing to be misunderstood. They were willing to be alone. They were willing to stand apart. And in that solitude, they built unshakable minds. Because when you spend enough time alone, you stop needing the world's validation. You stop caring about fitting in. You become immune to opinions. You start making decisions that align with your vision, not with trends. And that's when you gain power, real power, the power of independence. You'll find that isolation also teaches you focus. When you remove distractions, you gain clarity. When you stop trying to impress others, you start improving yourself. And that's what greatness really is, a result of consistent, focused, lonely effort. People want to skip the lonely part. They want shortcuts. They want instant recognition. But there are no shortcuts in mastery. There's only repetition, patience, and time spent in solitude doing the work nobody else wants to do. When you're isolated, your thoughts get louder. You start hearing your own voice, the one drowned out by noise, by opinions, by fear. That's the voice that guides you to purpose. That's the voice that tells you what needs to be done, what must be sacrificed, what battles are worth fighting. The more you listen to it, the stronger it gets. That's how you build direction. That's how you build conviction. That's how you stop drifting through life like the rest of the world. People say they want to win, but they can't handle being alone long enough to do it. They're addicted to validation. They need someone to clap for them, to reassure them, to make them feel like they're doing the right thing. But greatness doesn't need applause. It doesn't need company. It thrives in silence. The greatest battles you'll ever fight are fought in your own mind, in the quiet moments when you decide to keep going, even when it feels like the world has forgotten you. So when you find yourself alone, don't panic, embrace it. Because that isolation isn't a curse, it's a sign you're on the right path. The ones who walk alone are the ones who build empires. The ones who endure loneliness build strength that crowds will never understand. Isolation strips away weakness, ego, and distraction. It leaves you with only the essentials, your mission, your discipline, and your will to dominate. Every second spent alone, every sacrifice made in silence, every moment of rejection is adding weight to your greatness. The world may not see it now, but one day it will. Because when you finally rise, when your work speaks for itself, the same people who doubted you will pretend they always believed. But you'll know the truth. They weren't there when you were alone building in the dark. And that darkness, that isolation, that silence was where you became unstoppable. Winning doesn't start in the gym, in business, or in the world outside. It starts in your head. The mind is the first battlefield, and most people lose there long before they ever face real challenges. You can't conquer the world if you can't conquer your own thoughts. That's the truth nobody wants to admit. You can have strength, talent, money, or opportunity. But if your mind is weak, you'll sabotage yourself every time. You'll talk yourself out of progress, doubt your abilities, and find reasons to quit. The war for success is fought internally every single day in silence inside your own skull. The average person lives as a prisoner to their thoughts. They wake up defeated, they think small, they complain, they fear, they compare, and they wonder why their life doesn't change. But the truth is, they never learned how to think like a winner. Winners train their minds like soldiers train for war. They control what they focus on, what they allow in, and what they give energy to. They understand that the mind can be your greatest ally or your most dangerous enemy. It can build empires or destroy them before they begin. Every single excuse you've ever made started as a thought. Every moment of hesitation, every delay, every fear, all of it comes from your mind trying to protect you from discomfort. Your brain's mission isn't to make you great, it's to keep you safe. It's built for survival, not success. It tells you to avoid pain, to stay comfortable, to play it safe. But comfort kills greatness. You must reprogram your mind to see struggle as strength, to see fear as a signal to act, and to see pain as progress. Because the moment you do, the game changes. You stop running from challenges and start chasing them. Your thoughts create your reality. The man who believes he's capable will always find a way, and the man who believes he's doomed will always find an excuse. Two people can face the same problem. One sees it as a wall, the other as a test. The difference isn't luck or talent, it's mindset. The strongest warriors in history were not the ones who never doubted. They were the ones who felt fear and did it anyway. They learned to control their thoughts, not be controlled by them. And that's what separates winners from the weak: mental discipline. When your emotions rise, when the world feels against you, when failure stares you in the face, can you still control your mind? Can you stay calm when chaos hits? Can you silence that inner voice that says, "It's not worth it," and replace it with, "Try again"? The man who can command his mind can command anything, because everything in life bends to those who refuse to break. You have to train your mind daily the same way you train your body. Feed it with strength, with focus, with self-control. You can't expect to think like a king if you fill your head with weakness. Stop consuming things that rot your mindset. Gossip, negativity, fear. Start surrounding yourself with challenge, with knowledge, with ambition. Because what you feed your mind determines how it performs under pressure. The moment you start mastering your inner world, your outer world begins to obey. You have to learn to be ruthless with your own thoughts. When weakness speaks, cut it off. When doubt whispers, drown it out. You must become the general of your mind, not a soldier obeying orders from fear. The mind is a powerful tool, but only if you control it. If you let it run wild, it will destroy you with overthinking, hesitation, and comfort. But if you discipline it, if you train it to act on logic instead of emotion, it becomes unstoppable. The greatest victories you'll ever experience will happen after you win the invisible battles inside your head. When you push through the voice that says, "Stop," when you act despite fear, when you refuse to be shaken by doubt, that's when you start becoming dangerous. That's when your mind becomes your weapon instead of your weakness. People think success is about luck or timing or connections. It's not. It's about mental warfare. It's about showing up when your brain screams, "Give up." It's about forcing yourself to think differently when everything around you looks hopeless. Your outer life is a reflection of your inner standards. If your mind is weak, your life will be chaotic. But if your mind is disciplined, your life becomes structured, focused, and powerful. Every morning you wake up, you step into the battlefield again. You'll face your doubts, your fears, your temptations, your laziness. And you'll have to fight. Some days you'll win, some days you'll stumble, but the war never ends. The only way to keep winning is to keep training your mind. Because once your thoughts obey you, once you can silence the noise and focus on the mission, nothing and no one can stop you. Your biggest opponent will never be another man, another competitor, or another obstacle. It will always be the voice in your head. The day you conquer that voice is the day you start winning at everything. Winning is not a single event. It's not that one big achievement, that one lucky break, that one day when everything goes right. Winning is a lifestyle. It's a mindset, a pattern, a rhythm of life that you build day after day, second after second. People think success is a destination, but it's not. It's a process, and that process never stops. You don't win once, you win repeatedly, relentlessly, endlessly. You don't become a winner by accident. You live like one. You breathe it, think it, and act it until it becomes who you are. Most people believe that success has a finish line. They think once they make some money, once they get fit, once they achieve a certain status, they've won. But that's the biggest lie you can believe. The moment you think you've made it, you start losing. Because winning isn't something you do once. It's something you maintain every single day. You can't be disciplined for a week and call yourself a winner. You can't push hard for a month and expect greatness to last. The same habits that got you, they're the ones that keep you there. And the second you let them slip, everything you built begins to rot. A true winner wakes up every morning as if he's still behind. Even when he's on top, he's hungry. Even when he's celebrated, he's still grinding. Because he understands that success is temporary, but the mentality of a winner is eternal. You can't rest when you reach the summit, because the top of the mountain is where the wind hits hardest. Everyone wants your spot. Everyone wants to take what you've built. And the only way to keep it is to stay sharper, hungrier, and more ruthless than everyone else. You see, winning isn't about one moment of glory. It's about thousands of unseen moments of effort. The early mornings, the lonely nights, the repetition, the sacrifice, the constant battle between who you are and who you're trying to become. That's what defines winners. The consistency to keep doing the hard thing when nobody's watching, when nobody's clapping, when nobody cares. Winners live in that grind. They feed on it because they know that if they stop, even for a second, mediocrity will catch up. You can't pretend to be a winner. You either are or you're not. And being one isn't about what you have, it's about how you think. Winners think differently. They see every situation as a test. They see every failure as feedback. They don't run from responsibility. They own it. They don't make excuses, they fix the problem. Every day, they show up like their life depends on it, because in their minds it does. They don't separate life from success. They merge the two until every action they take aligns with their purpose. Winning becomes their identity. It's not just what they do, it's who they are. It's in the way they talk, walk, think, and act. It's in their posture, their discipline, their tone. Every choice, every second, every thought is directed toward one goal: domination. That's why winners stand out in a world full of mediocrity. They're not lucky, they're not gifted, they're relentless. They build their lives around the habits that create success and refuse to break them for anyone or anything. And the truth is that lifestyle comes with pain. You'll lose people, you'll lose comfort, you'll lose sleep. But that's the cost of living at a level most people will never touch. It's easy to be ordinary. It's cheap. Being a winner is expensive. It demands everything. Your focus, your energy, your consistency, your entire being. You have to sacrifice pleasure for purpose. You have to choose growth over comfort every single day, and that's not something you do once. That's something you become. That's why you must stop chasing moments of motivation and start building systems of excellence. Motivation fades, systems stay. Winners don't rely on how they feel. They rely on what they've built. Their habits, their routines, their discipline. That's what carries them through when the fire burns low. You can't fake consistency. You can't pretend to grind. The truth always reveals itself in the results. And here's what separates the real ones from the fakes. Real winners never stop evolving. They're never satisfied. They're always learning, always adapting, always pushing past what they once thought was impossible. They understand that winning isn't about perfection, it's about progression. Every day, you either move forward or you fall behind. There's no middle ground. The moment you start treating winning like a lifestyle, not a moment, not an event, not a lucky strike, everything changes. You start walking differently. You start thinking strategically. You start caring about the small details that others ignore, because you understand that everything matters. Every decision compounds. Every second builds momentum. Every choice either sharpens your edge or dulls it. Winning isn't about luck. It's about living every day with intention. It's about turning discipline into your religion and excellence into your language. It's about becoming the kind of person who doesn't need to chase success because success becomes drawn to you. That's what happens when you live like a winner. Not once, not sometimes, but all the time. The truth about winning is brutal. It's not pretty, it's not easy, and it's not meant for everyone. It demands more than effort. It demands transformation. You don't just change your habits, you change who you are. You sacrifice comfort for power, distraction for discipline, emotion for logic, and approval for purpose. The world will never hand you greatness. You have to take it with your bare hands through relentless consistency and an unshakable mindset. That's the truth most people can't handle, and that's why most people lose. Winning at all costs isn't about destroying others, it's about destroying your weakness. It's about silencing the excuses, conquering your fears, and dominating your own mind. Every day is a battlefield against comfort, doubt, laziness, and emotion. And the one who wins that inner war becomes unstoppable in the outer world. The man who controls his time, his focus, his energy, controls everything. You must understand that success is not a moment, it's a lifestyle. It's built through years of silent discipline, through lonely nights of sacrifice, through endless repetition when nobody's watching. The true winners live differently. They think sharper, move faster, and act harder than the rest. They don't wait for the perfect opportunity, they create it. They don't hope for motivation, they build systems that don't require it. They don't chase comfort, they embrace pain as fuel. When you truly know the truth about winning, you stop playing small. You stop waiting for validation. You stop fearing judgment. You realize that isolation is power, pain is growth, and failure is feedback. Every hardship becomes a weapon. Every rejection becomes redirection. Every second becomes an opportunity to dominate. The world belongs to those who are willing to pay the price, to those who accept the pain, to those who understand that winning demands everything. Your focus, your heart, your mind, and your soul. You can't half commit to greatness. You're either all in or you're out, because the truth is, the cost of winning is high, but the cost of regret is far higher. So choose your pain wisely. Either suffer now through discipline or suffer later through mediocrity. Either pay the price to rise or pay the price to remain the same. The truth about winning is simple. It belongs to the few who never stop, never fold, and never waste a single second of their existence wondering if they're capable. They already know they are.